Welcome to Live Talk. We are coming to you from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington this Friday, June the 10th, 2022. I am Tungamili Nkomo. Tonight, we are looking at complaints by human rights defenders that democracy is increasingly under attack in Zimbabwe, with the frequent arrests of people accused of gathering without police clearance or insulting President Emerson Mnangagwa. Today, 36 people were arrested in Harare during a launch of the Zimbabwe We Want campaign, a church-led initiative which demands, and I quote, a corruption-free, just, peaceful, prosperous, and democratic Zimbabwe. Those arrested included Bishop Anselmo Magaya of the Zimbabwe Divine Destiny, who was later released, according to the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights. But the rest were being detained and denied legal representation this evening, the lawyers added. Also, human rights advocates complain about the police denying them permission to conduct a vigil for departed lawyer and democracy campaigner Dr. Alex Magaisa, who died in the UK this week. The vigil was set for Harare at the weekend, but the police blocked it, saying the conveners had not followed due process. That's all we are about tonight. Yilo utaba esingalo zihlobo esithandekayo ngilamukele emakhaya. Kuhlelo lwe-Live Talk lamhlanje kungolwesihlanu. Udaba olusegudwini ngolwabalwela amalungelo oluntu kanye labamabandla aphikisayo. Abakhalayo bayakhonona lapha bathi hayi umbuso we-ZANU-PF ukhanya usufike kwelinye izinga ngobubi ngoba abantu bayabotshwa nje mahlayana. Sikhuluma nje lamhlanje kubotshwe abantu abangu-36, amachumi amathathu lasithupha behlangene eHarare besungula umkhankaso okuthiwa yiZimbabwe We Want campaign, ilizwe leZimbabwe esilifunayo. Lo ngumkhankaso othi ufuna iZimbabwe engelankohlakalo, iZimbabwe lapho abantu abaphathwa ngokufanayo, iZimbabwe elempumelelo njalo elokuthula, kanti njalo ebuswa ngendlela egoqela umuntu wonke esingathi idemocracy. Babotshiwe-ke labo bantu singazi ukuthi kumbe betheswa calabani ngoba amagqwetha we-Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights athi ayazama ukuthi azamile ukuthi abafinyelele kodwa aliswa ngamapholisa. Omunye obebotshwe labantu laba nguBishop Anselmo Magaya owebandla leZimbabwe Divine Destiny. Kodwa yena ngokutsho kwamagqwetha uphange wakhululwa. Sibone njalo izolo amapholisa esalisa abangane bakaDokotela Alex Magaisa ekade beqoqa ukuhlangana eHarare kusasa ukwenza lokho okuthiwa yivigil, ukumbuthanela belayitha amakhandlela nje bemkhumbula njengomuntu obelwela amalungelo oluntu obhubhe kuliviki obhubhele kweleNgilandi. Bayakhala ngakho abantu abaningi bathi hayi, idemocracy is under attack eZimbabwe. Umbuso okhululekileyo uncipha ngokwenza kukahulumende wonke okwaziwayo batereri kusangana ukumuchirongwa che Live Talk nasi muswechishanu tiri kukurukura nenyaya yevemasangano anorwira kodzero vanhu pamwe chete nevemapato anopikisa avo vari kuchema kuti utongi hwehurumende yeZANU-PF hwashata zvakanyanyisisa. Vari kuchema ivo kuti vanhu vari kungosungwa zvisina tsarukano. Kutaura kunoku Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights iri kuti kwasungwa vanhu vanokwana 36 nhasi kuHarare uko vanga vakasangana vachiumba sangano rinonzi The Zimbabwe We Want campaign rinova sangano remachechi vari kuti vanoda nyika isina corruption, nyika ine runyararo uye nyika ine budiriro pamwe chete nedemocracy. Saka Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights iri kuti vanhu ivavo vasungwa vanosanganisira Bishop Anselmo Magaya veZimbabwe Divine Destiny, asi vaMagaya vazosunungurwa havo, asi vamwe ava 35 kana kuti 36 Magweta ari kuti ari kurambizwa kuti ange achivaona achinzwazve kuti vari kupomerwa mhosva yechii. Saka ndiyo nyaya yatiri kukurukura nezvayo nhasi. Veduwe tine vanyarikani vedu vaDr Shepard Mpofu vanoongorora zvematongero enyika pamwe chete navaTawanda Dzokora veCitizens Coalition for Change. Tichazoitazve vaMasimba Mavaza vekungirandi vekuZANU-PF vavimbisa kuti vachange vachipinda muchirongwa maminitsi mashoma ari kutevera. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining us. Let me start off with Mr. Dzokora of the CCC. Mr. Dzokora, 36 people have been arrested today, as you have already heard, for launching a campaign demanding a peaceful and corruption-free Zimbabwe. We haven't heard what charges they are facing yet, but what's your take on that?
Thank you, Koma. Thank you, Murie Zimbabwe Yakaterera. You know, we condemn the arbitrary arrests of innocent citizens in Zimbabwe. And we thought ZANU-PF was afraid only of the citizens. But of late, we are seeing that they are even afraid of pastors. They are afraid of people that are gathering to pray. You also know that ZANU-PF or the police, with instructions from ZANU-PF, stopped the candle lighting and prayer session for the late Dr. Magaisa. May his soul rest in peace. We are also seeing here that ZANU-PF is even afraid of the dead. They are afraid of the impact of Dr. Magaisa. This was just a prayer session. This was just a candle lighting session. And Bishop Magaya and other citizens, other Zimbabweans, were just gathering to pray for a better Zimbabwe, for a new Zimbabwe, for a Zimbabwe that respects human rights, a Zimbabwe that is not corrupt, a Zimbabwe that puts Zimbabweans first, that put people first, that respect the wishes and the will of the people. They were just praying. They were not demonstrating. It was not anything more than just a prayer session. But they were stopped. Not only stopped, but physically abused and arrested, arbitrarily arrested, illegally arrested. This is the last thing that a government can do. We need our pastors. We need to pray. And that's the reason why we continually say, now is the time that Zimbabweans should usher in a truly new dispensation that is leaders that fear God, that truthfully fear God. Because a leader that fears God or a leadership that fears God will also fear the people. It will fear and respect the citizens. We have heard constantly Emerson Mnangagwa, Mr. Mnangagwa, saying that the voice of God is the voice of the people. The voice of the people is the voice of God. But we know that people should listen to the voice of God. and the voice of God is the people. And the people are saying, we want this. We want to be allowed to march when we want to march. We want to be allowed to protest when we want to protest. And we want to be allowed to pray when we want to pray. But Mnangagwa is not listening. So he was lying when he was saying that he listens to the voice of God. The voice of God is the voice of the people according to him. But we are seeing citizens being persecuted every day.
Thank you there, Mr. Zokora. Coming to you, Dr. Mpofu, is democracy under attack in Zimbabwe?
For starters, we can say that democracy never existed in Zimbabwe. There's never been a moment or a time of peace in Zimbabwe, even since 1980. Some people could have enjoyed peace, but not the whole nation and not everyone. And when Mnangagwa came in, he made so many promises that he was departing from the trajectory that Mr. Mugabe was leading the country to and towards. And what you have now is the real face of ZANU-PF and the real face and the real heart of Mr. Mnangagwa and the ruling ZANU-PF. I think one of the most horrifying things that ZANU-PF did after the departure of Mr. Mugabe is to promise people that they are going to bring in a new dispensation that respects human rights, that respects human dignity, that respects economic prosperity for each and every Zimbabwean. But ZANU-PF has been evil and wicked, and the country has been led by evil and wicked men, and this is what is coming out now. How on earth do you arrest people who are in a prayer session? They are not on the streets marching as if marching was a crime in any case. They are not armed with anything, but all they are doing is to pray for a Zimbabwe that they aspire for a Zimbabwe that they wish for, and for a Zimbabwe that has not been delivered by any political parties or by any politicians, ZANU-PF included. And I think this is a shameless act to actually curtail the freedoms of people, whatever small freedoms that the country affords Zimbabweans at the moment. It's quite shameful and quite diabolical, actually, to arrest people who are in a prayer session, including also to refuse people to have a funeral wake in remembrance of the dead. What violence could potentially erupt from a funeral wake of somebody like Alex Magaisa, who never was a proponent of violence, a man who was peaceful, and all he did was to confront the regime with his pen and the power of his word, and also a man who contributed more than probably half of what we have for ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe. He contributed immensely to Zimbabwe, and he wished for better for Zimbabwe more than probably anyone in ZANU-PF now. So it boggles the mind that such a thing could be in the priority list of ZANU-PF. And indeed, democracy continues under attack, continues to be curtailed, continues to be undermined in the current Zimbabwe as we know it under ZANU-PF.
Ekwenziweni pho Dr. Mpofu kuyini kahle kahle okungenziwa okungenza umbuso okhululekileyo ugxile eZimbabwe njengoba usithi hayi ukhanya uyagugudeka ke lo mbuso okhululekileyo idemocracy?
Ukuthi wenziweni lokho sokuzafuna uNkulunkulu angenele njengoba sibona ukuthi abantu bayakhuleka emasontweni but bagcina bebotshiwe. Akulanto engenziwa ngabantu beZimbabwe okwamanje, ngoba nxa singathi baqala ama-political party amatsha bazothwaliswa nzima, futhi singathi bahambe esitradeni bedemonstrata bazoboshwa bathwaliswe nzima. Manje bayakhuleka emachechi bathwaliswa nzima. So into eZimbabwe inzima sibili. Amboni ukuthi sesilenye ilokhuzeni singaba lenye option yokuthi abantu benzeni, ngoba zonke izinto vele ukuthi kube le democracy eZimbabwe sokwehlule. Osokusele kuphela ukuthi abantu bayevota ngo-2023. sizabona ukuthi bazovota njani. Maybe bengavota lapho ngo-2023 kuzaba le democracy eZimbabwe, but okwamanje hayi asazi ukuthi kungenziwani. Lokhu sokufuna uNkulunkulu ukuthi angenele sibe.
Kodwa dokotela abantu bebekhuleka all the way from kubo 2000 khonale from ngesikhathi kuhluthunwa amaplazi ngesikhathi seviolence kuze kube lamhlanje abantu lokho bekhuleka kodwa utshintsho kukhanya kalubuyi.
Yeah, akula nto etshintshileyo. Akula nto etshintshileyo. Maybe nxa bebethandaza ka-1 sokumele bathandaze kabili kumbe kathathu ngelanga kumbe bakhale kuNkulunkulu ukuze abezwe. Even ukuvota, anti ukuvota nxa sikhuluma ngenketho eziba khona presidential parliamentary, iZANU-PF igcina itshontshile ama-votes, ama-election sometimes nxa impumela yakhona ingakhitshwanga after amaviki ambalwa kuyaqeda izinyanga impumela yokhetho ingakhitshwanga. So at the moment lapho esikhona vele akula hope for iZimbabwe ukuthi abantu bengenza. Maybe ilokhuzeni only option iZimbabwe engaba layo, especially abantu abancane, abantu abazalwa ngabo 2000 labo kuthiwa ngama 2000 ama-millennials, sokumele baye kuma-ballot box ngo-2023 bayevota. And mbona kungavota abantu abaningi to an extent yokuthi i-system won't be able to rig ama-election, kungaba ngcono ukuthi abantu at least they can usher in a democratic dispensation. But okwamanje hayi kukhanya kunzima.
Udokotela Shepherd Mpofu ingcwethi kwezombusazwe lapho qhubeka ubambile dokotela. Ndi uye kwa muri vadzokora muri kuti utongi hweudzvanyiriri huri kudzama muZimbabwe. Saka poitwa sei nekuti vanhu vakawanda vari kutarisira kwamuri sebato rinopikisa reCCC?
Yes, if democracy and rule of law and freedom was once upon a time in the intensive care unit, now it's in the mortuary. And when I'm saying once upon a time, I'm talking even during the time of the Smith regime, including the time of Robert Mugabe. We were complaining about human rights abuses. We are complaining about a lack of democracy. But now it's even worse. With Emmerson Mnangagwa, it's even worse. There is no more democracy at all. If ever it was there, it's dead. It's in the mortuary as we are speaking. He has heightened human rights abuses from the time of Robert Mugabe. It's now worse. Right now, as we are speaking, we are not sleeping. We are praying for the release and return of our sister, More Blessing Ali, who was abducted by non-ZANU-PF people in Chitungwiza. She was seen being abducted. She was seen being bundled in a known car by known assailants, by known people in Chitungwiza. But up until today, we do not have even feedback from the police, from any of the law authorities in Zimbabwe. It's almost 15 days today. Where is More Blessing Ali? Where is she? And why are we not getting a detailed report from ZANU-PF? These are the things that we talk about when we when we say that democracy is dead in Zimbabwe. How can a human being, a person, just disappear like that? The same way that 16 billion disappeared. Now we are having people just disappearing like that. These are the works of a government that is panicking, a government that knows that they will never win an election. So they have to instill the fear of God into people. It's called harvest of fear. And that's exactly what ZANU-PF is doing. They are already doing this in preparation for more violence as we go into 2023. They will be now harvesting that fear, going to the rural areas, going to Bulawayo where more blessing was not abducted, where people were not arrested or killed, and telling them, those people that you know us, we are ZANU-PF, we will kill you like what we did to the people in Matebele. We will abduct you. We will do this to you like what we did to more blessing. Harvest of fear. And they're doing this in preparation for 2023 election. And I want to agree with what Dr. Mpofu said, that the only solution that we have as Zimbabweans, it's ourselves. The answer is in ourselves, that we go and register en masse, and we also show up at the ballot box en masse, and we vote out this government. That's the only way. And I am telling you, if we do that, if 6 million people show up at the ballot boxes, the ZANU-PF will not even find a way of rigging. They are afraid of numbers. They are afraid of more people showing up. That's the reason why you see that they will never put effort. The government will never put effort. ZANU-PF will never campaign for people to go and register. That's the reason why we do not even have any form of voter education as up to now. If you go to the ZEC website, by its own admission, they are supposed to be continually doing voter education. They are supposed to be doing this from the end of a previous election to the beginning of another election cycle. But they never do that. They will wait until 2 months or 3 months before an election. That's when you will see they will throw in 1 or 2 videos or adverts encouraging people to go and vote. But they are supposed to be continually educating people about their right to vote. But they deliberately do not do that because they do not want many people to show up at the ballot boxes.
Thank you.
Zimbabwe kana muri makateerera muchinzwa iko zvino zvinoita kuti ZANU-PF irambe kuti muende kunovhota. Ndochinoita ndotinofanira kutumai kuti muende tiende kunovhota neuwandu hwedu, nekuti tikanovhota neuwandu hwedu chero kubira kwacho kweZANU-PF kunonetsa. Saka ngatiende tinoregister vanhu vese. Ini ndiri pano, I'm a registered voter. I'm here, but I'm a registered voter. I've never missed an election. Even 2018 paitaurwa pacho kunzi kunoendwa kunoregister wozodzokera futi kuenda kunovhota. I did that. So why can't we all do that?
Thank you, Zokora. Abasanda kusixhuma bachangoti bata. This is Studio 7 Live Talk, and tonight we are asking the question, is democracy under attack in Zimbabwe? We are talking about events unfolding this week, and today we saw police arresting 36 people who were gathering in Harare to launch a church initiative that's demanding a corruption-free and a democratic Zimbabwe. Dokotela Mpofu ngiphenduke kuwe. Umzwilu babuZokora lapha uyakhuluma. Esikhathini esiningi yebo siyayisola uhulumende, siyayisola iZANU. Ngemithetho emibi lokuhlukuluza abantu okwenzakalayo elizweni, kodwa abamabandla aphikisayo afana lawe CCC waboZokora ungathi aqhuba imizamo eneleyo yini njengaseParliament ukuthi kukhitshwe leyo mithetho emibi? Sabona kukhitshwa iphosa kwafakwa imopha, khathesi abantu sebebotshwa njalo phansi kwemopha. Amabandla aphikisayo enza okwaneleyo yini, Dokotela Mpofu, ukubona ukuthi kuba lo mbuso okhulelekileyo eZimbabwe?
Amabandla aphikisayo ngokubona kwami bayenza imizamo engaphansi kwamandla abo ukuthi bancedise ukukhipheni imithetho lesingathi ayikho democratic. Kodwa ke iZANU-PF ayisebenzi ngemithetho, ayilandele i-constitution. Unjela ukuthi nxa abantu beyaboshwa esontweni bethandaza, yuphi umthetho ku-constitution othi abantu bengathandazi? Nxa lifuna ukumatsha, nxa lifuna ukuba le-funeral, nxa lifuna ukuye lokhuzeni ePark eHarare for an overnight vigil, whatever it is. Amapolisa kumele uyapplyele emapholiseni, amapholisa alalise ukuthi lenze izinto ezinjalo. So ngokubona kwami ama-opposition parties, they've done enough to actually try to overturn certain or to remove certain undemocratic laws in Zimbabwe. But ZANU-PF continues, by the way, to use even archaic laws, or even ukusebenzisa imithetho engekho even ku-constitution engaexistiyo. Ungathi upresident ubenatha, subotsho ukuthi upresident ubenatha uboshelwe khonokho. Nxa lokuthi ubenathani besingakwazi, sifuka unatha utshwala kulicala. Uyabona? So at the end of the day, ngibona ngani amabandla aphikisayo angaze yenzeni, iZANU-PF ayisozitshintshe. And umlando ngokubona kwami umlando asingeke sawubeka kumabandla la aphikisayo. Umlando ku-ZANU-PF njengebandla elibusayo, ZANU-PF njengebandla elisebenzisa amapholisa ukwenza izinto ezingekho emthethweni, lisebenzisa amasosha ukwenza izinto ezingekho emthethweni. So amabandla aphikisayo akulanto angayenza endaweni enjalo. They are actually powerless and ineffective in a way because they can't do anything. Uyabona?
Aha, hayi siyakuzwa Dr. Mpofu lapho, kodwa udaba lokuthi umongameli ubenatha okhuluma ngalo ludaba olwabophisa uMduduzi Mathuthu, umhleli wephephandaba leZim Live. Bathi watweet ukuthi uMnangagwa wayenatha ngesikhathi ezebiza ukuthi azebala istatement esasisithi amabhanga asemise inhlelo zokuboleka imali. Bamchajile nje last week, if not this week, I think this week ngeMonday. Then we also have VKC omunye ubaba lapha. Let me read this from the Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights. They said, and this was on June 8th, they are saying, in Mutawatawa, we rescued Lovemore Muchenje by getting him released from police custody after he had been arrested for undermining the authority of or insulting President Mnangagwa by allegedly posting a WhatsApp on a WhatsApp group a picture depicting the ZANU-PF leader wearing a dress and writing a caption saying, by economy ndirimainini, Muchenje, who spent a night in detention, was set free after the intervention of Tinashe Chinox of Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, who challenged the prosecution of his client in his absence of a certificate of authority to prosecute issued by the prosecutor general in terms of the law. Indaba ezinjalo dokotela ibophisa abantu kuthiwa bathethise umongameli ngamacala esiwabona phose viki ngeviki abantu bayabotshwa njalo nje. Ungathi kulomahluko yini in that regard with esasikubona ngesikhathi sikaMgabe?
Of course, akula mahluko ngoba ngesikhathi sikaMgabe izinto ezifananayo ezazisenziwa. Abantu babebotshwa kuthiwa ku-undermine i-authority ka-president or whatever it is. And again, freedom of speech expression includes the freedom to caricature the leaders. So making fun of the president really should not be something that our policemen should be occupied with. And this is something that our democracy should actually be built on, because abantu ungakhangele America ukhangele ngaphi, even eSouth Africa kuna upresident bayamkhathuna benze yonke into abantu. akula muntu wakwaboshwa eAmerica kuthiwa su-undermine i-authority ka-president, whatever that means. Nxa ungadweba umnankakho egqoka isigqoko ukuthi by economy ndirimayinini. Of course, by economy arimayinini because he has no grasp of the economy whatsoever, and it doesn't even grasp anything. So ma president enjalo, abantu have a right ukuthi bamkhathune, have a right to make commentaries, have a right to write about things that they are not satisfied with. So at the end of the day, Singati ZANU-PF seems to be bent on an undemocratic path, and they are not willing to change. And they're actually going to use the police ukuthi bahlukumeze abantu beZimbabwe, and baqhubeke besenza ukuthi abantu besabe to an extent. And this is leading to 2023, by the way. Ukuthi uyagcina ungasathembi even ukuzithemba wena nokuthemba umakhelwane wakho lokuthemba ubani. And you can imagine nxa wathumela imessage ngeWhatsApp wayithumela kubani, mbani wami reportayo, and yena wayithatha ngaphi, what was wrong with that? And kuyacontinue njalo ukuthi bonke abantu abathumela ama-message la sokuzamele baboshwe, otherwise liyagcina ligcwalisa amajele. iZANU-PF yagcina igcwalisa amajele ngezinto ezingekhoyo, uyabona. So for one, really, there's no difference between, at least Mugabe was clever than Mnangagwa. We can grant Mugabe that. Mugabe seemed to be aware of what's happening around him, and he had some sort of intellect to grasp the economics and the politics of the globe and of Zimbabwe. But what we have currently really is a man who is out of his depth, a man who doesn't inspire hope, you know. So even though Singati Zimbabwe was the same under Mugabe as it is under Mnangagwa, I think to a certain extent it has gone a bit worse than what it was. Not that Mugabe was a saint. Mugabe was never a saint. But what is happening now is actually going deeper into hopelessness. And deeper into eroding of people's democratic rights, human rights. So that's how I see it now.
Thank you there, Doc, and please do stay on the line. I must say that we are expecting somebody from ZANU-PF to join us. That's Dr. Masimba Mavaza. He had said at the beginning of the show he was going to join after about 10 minutes. But isikhathi sambile nguwa zafamba, we've been trying to call Dr. Mavaza of ZANU-PF, but abazi kunonga phone yabo is not picking his phone. Saga, we will continue trying, and also trying another ZANU-PF official in Canada, that's Mr. Regis Charumbira. He also agreed to be on the show, but I've been trying to call him. See, foni dzacho dziri kunetsa, vari kuchema nenetwork kwavari vacharumbira. Saka fingers crossed, we are expecting somebody from ZANU-PF to join us. Taurira paguti, as you know, Studio 7 inotema isina kwa yakarerekera. You may see us tonight having Vadzokora Triple C and an analyst. Vachishora ZANU-PF, Vachishora Urumende, and there's no one to defend the government. But what we are saying, we reached out to ZANU-PF, and two officials promised to join us. I see they have not yet done so. As we will continue trying to link up with them. Vadzokora ndichi dzokera kwamuri tichitarisa Afrobarometer yakaburitsa yatingati ongororo kana kuti survey yayakaita this week. Vari kuti 51% yevanhu vemuzimbabwe vanovimba navaemerson mnangagwa mutungamiri wenyika, asi is it 72% are saying the country is headed in the wrong direction. How do you reconcile the two? 51% saying we trust the president, but again, 72% saying the country is in the wrong direction. How do you reconcile that?
You can't reconcile it because it's not possible. What they are saying, I don't know where they got their statistics, where Afrobarometer got their statistics. I don't know whom they talked to, which Zimbabweans they spoke to. I even doubt, their processes. They always come up in support of ZANU-PF. This is not the first time that they've come up with skewed propositions and numbers like that. So I've at one time I even made a research on the composition of the board of directors and the people that make up Afrobarometer. Some of them have very strong links to ZANU-PF. So I would not listen, if I'm a Zimbabwean, I would not listen or even pay attention to what Afrobarometer says. We know that Emerson Mnangagwa has been investing heavily. Even here in America, he has hired public relations companies, to do the dirty work for him and try to do what they call social engineering to try and present ZANU-PF as a party that is preferred by many, to try and cleanse Emerson Mnangagwa as a good man, remove the blood that is on Emerson Mnangagwa. They're paying millions of dollars to UK companies. So they also have people that they pay in Africa. So Zimbabweans do not pay attention to what Afrobarometer says. We are here, we are dealing with a government that is panicking, and they are using millions of dollars that they should be investing back in the country to give to people so that they can tell the world that Emerson Mnangagwa is the right leader, that ZANU-PF is the right party to lead Zimbabwe. But that's all they have. This is like Dr. Mpofu was saying, this is a government that is jittery, that is suffering from paranoia, that they run away from anything. That's the reason why you see them arresting people arbitrarily, because when they see people in the streets, they think it's regime change. They think they're about to be removed. They know what they're doing. What they're doing is not right. So they are afraid of anything and anyone. Vanotiza chero mumvuri yavo chaiyo chaiyo. Mnangagwa ndofunga gonzo rikadonha mumba, anototiza kutomhanya chaiko kuti yowe ndakuuraiwa panapa. That's what leaders who do not respect the wishes of the people end up doing. They end up killing people like what.
Ndikubate muromo vadzokora. Asi there is another aspects of this survey which are favorable to the opposition. Like here they are saying that trust in the opposition, in opposition political parties, was at 48%, while trust in the ruling party was 44%. And they are also saying they found the people that support ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe are now at, is it 44%? While those that support the opposition are at 42%, which is somewhat statistically a tie. And those are favorable to the opposition. Still, you don't believe in that?
No, that's a carrot and stick approach. They give you something and then they hit you with the other hand. It's they would have to do that for these numbers, for these statistics to be believable. But I do not pay attention to all that, and I would urge Zimbabweans not to pay attention to what Afrobarometer does. Because we all know what is going on in Zimbabwe. Who would approve of Emerson Mnangagwa in a free and fair analysis? Who would approve of a person who is killing people the way he's doing right now? Is tomorrow will be having a memorial service in Lower Gweru for Mbomeni Ngwe, who was killed. And right now, as we are speaking, we are looking for more blessing Ali, who was abducted and she was not found. And as we are speaking, bread is now a luxury in most people's homes. School fees is going up every day, and it's being people are being billed in US dollars when they are not being paid in US dollars. You know, you're being paid in bond notes, and your school fees and other things are coming in US dollars. The roads in Zimbabwe you saw that car in Bulawayo getting into a pothole, if you even have to call it a pothole. So who would approve of such a leader, you know, who has messed up people's lives and is doing such a shoddy job, such a bad job? I don't see anyone approving of Emmerson Mnangagwa as we are speaking, aside of the people that are benefiting from ZANU-PF, that are benefiting from corrupt deals, corrupt activities, the minerals that are being taken, and those that are being given land, like the Chinese, the Russians, and of course the families of those in ZANU-PF that are stealing and are being allowed to get away, you know, without being arrested. Those are the only people, yes, who would approve of Emmerson Mnangagwa's government. But as it is, any normal Zimbabwean, any sane Zimbabwean would not approve of anything that ZANU-PF is doing.
Tinotenda vadzokora siqhubeke ngohlelo lwethu kulabo abasanda kusixhuma. Singumsakazo we-Studio 7 njalo kuhlelo lamhlanje sikhuluma ilabe Triple C ubaba uTawanda Dzokora kanye lengcwethi kwezombusazwe udokotela Shepard Mpofu. Sikhuluma ngokubotshwa mahlana kwabantu eZimbabwe. Sibonile ngoba sibonile lamhlanje kubotshwe I have a call here ubaba uCharumbira from ZANU-PF. Usesithintile vaCharumbira from Bature ZANU-PF va register Charumbira. We've been trying to connect with him. Asi runare rwanga ruchi neza sivazotifonera. VaCharumbira, we appreciate your call and that notenda kupina muchirongwa. VaCharumbira. Hello, VaCharumbira. We have a bad connection there. I was saying ukuthi besinxuse abantu beZANU-PF lo ngomunye wabo ubaba uRegis Charumbira ozama ukusifonela kodwa incingo zikhanya ziyala. Besicele njalo lo Dr. Masimba Mabaza liyamazi sivama ukuba la ekuhlelo kodwa la ukhanya akabambeki. Kodwa siqhubeke ngohlelo lwethu nxa sikhuluma ke ngodaba lwama findings lawa awe Afrobarometer. Sibonile i-survey yabo isithi abantu abafika ku 72% bathi ilizwe lisendleleni embi, kanti kuzoba le 51% njalo ethi iyamethemba umongameli Emmerson Mnangagwa. So khonapho ngani kule contradiction, asazi ukuthi how can that happen? Kodwa sizwe udokotela Shepard Mpofu ukuthi yena ulubona njani lolu daba, ngoba abaningi bathi ngesikhiwa yilokho kuthiwa i-oxymoron. Sesilaye njalo ubaba uCharumbira lapha sizwe ukuthi sesizwanana yini. VaCharumbira makade aiwa tiripo yedu tinotenda nekutifonera. We've been trying to call you asi mafoni ari kunetsa zvekuti
mafoni ari kunetsa nenyaya yenetwork saka ndati mutry pane nhamba dzokuno dzangu saka ichindava online now.
Okay, tinotenda zvikuru vacharumbira ndevebato reZANU-PF. Tonight, Mr. Charumbira, we are asking the question, is democracy under attack in Zimbabwe as alleged by human rights defenders and the opposition? Because tikuona mazuva ano kuri kusungwa vanhu vari kupomerwa mhosva yekutuka vaMnangagwa vakawanda. Uyezve nhasi taona kuchisungwa vanhu vanoita 36 vanosanganisira vemachechi vanga vachiparura sangano rinokurudzira utongi hwejekerere muZimbabwe.
Ndinotenda kuti yes, democracy iko zvakanyanya kuZimbabwe kuno kwandiri kuno ndekumusha. I think ndinoona kuti kune inonzi rule of law neinonzi enforcement inoitwa namapurisa kunyika yoga yoga. Izvi ndinoona sokuti ndo zviri kuvhiringidziwa nevamwe vedu muno munyika yeZimbabwe kuti vanogona kungofunga kuti toda kuita chakati votosumuka votoita. Zvimwe zvacho zvinoda kupuwa malicense nokuauthorizewa neve-enforcement, mapurisa kana mutemo weze-government. Saka mukatarisa vose vanonzi vasungwa vadai inyaya yekuti vema-human rights avo vanenge vachida kuti nokuti sarudzo dzedu dzakuuya dzakuinda kusarudzoka, vari kuda kuti vawane zvokupomera kuti vaMnangagwa vanzi aiwa basa vakonewa. Saka mukatarisa kuti ivo vari kuita izvi zvamuri kutaura izvi, vambonge vapuwa here authorization kana kuti vari kungonomira pamakona avo votanga kutsoropodza government vachiita zvavanenge vachiita? Nokuti tinoziva kuti government yedu kana mukakumbira zvakanaka munopuwa, asi kana mukati imi munongo maakuita kuzvitonga kwokuti hamucharespect rule of law, hamucharespect ma-enforcement officers, hamucharespect government, uye mazvene muchiita ndezvokutukirira mukuru wenyika, izvozvo handifungi kuti zvinhu zvingafadza kuti chero zvikacha government ikachinja iyo unenge ari mukuru wenyikawo panguva idzodzo, handifungi kuti tinofanira kumudisrespecta. Saka ngatitange iye zvino kuti titevedzere mutemo yemunyika medu nokuti zvinhu zvitifambire tese. Ndinotenda zvikuru.
Varegis Charumbira, mukuru weZANU-PF kuno kuNorth America, asi kutaura kunoku vari kuZimbabwe havo. Asi tichitarisa futi pane imwe nyaya, vaCharumbira, takaona nezuro vemhuri uyezve shamwari dzavaAlex Magaisa vachikumbira mvumo kuita yatinoti vigil kuraita macandle kuHarare uko mangwana, vachirangarira mumwe wavo akashaya svondo rino, asi vakanyimwa mvumo, which boggles the mind really kuti vanhu vari panhamo apa vari kuda kusangana kuti vange vachirangarira mumwe wavo asi vari kunyimwa mvumo. Why?
Right, having ndoda kuti ndichemewo nemhuri yokwavamagaisa. Alex Magaisa pavanga vari kuUK taishanda navo vari kubato ravo reMDC isiri kwedu kuZANU-PF tichikwikwidzana zvikuru imo mumaredio material kurasikirwa kwavo kwoupenyu, kurasikirwa kweduwo, nokuti isu hatifari kuti munhu adi anga achirasikirwa noupenyu. Zvamabvunza izvi mukazvitarisa futi zvadambotaura zviya kuti avo vanga vaida kuita vigil yavo zvine zvaongororwa negovernment, zvichionekwa kuti vigil yavo yavari kuda kuita iyi haisi kuda kuzokumutsa here bongozozo. Chatisingadi munyika muno inyaya yekuti muite mhonga mupopoto toita chinhu chinokonzeresa kuti paite eruption of mademonstration kana maprotesters vachida kushandisa opportunity yemushakabvu vamagaisa vanenge vashaika. Saka izvozvo ndo zvindoramba ndichingodzokera kuya kwokuti kazhinji mukaona vachizonyimwa permission yokuita izvozvo inyaya yekuti pane zvine zvaongororwa zvaonekwa kuti vanhu ava vakapiwa permission iyi mugumo wazvo izvi zvichazopedzera zvakukonzeresa kuti munyika mushaye peace. Vakuru vedu vegovernment nepati yedu ZANU-PF, president weZimbabwe Comrade Mnangagwa vari kutaura nyaya yepeace and unity. Saka zvinhu izvi ini sokuona kwangu ndinoona kuti zvisina peace kumberi kwazvo. Saka zvinhu zvisina peace kumberi kwazvo I think sebato reZANU-PF riri kutonga handifungi kuti tingazvibvumirawo nesuwo. Asi kuchema navamagaisa aiwa kana government chaiyo inenge ichitochemaona vamagaisa.
I would imagine, though, vacharumbira kuti the prospect of violence would only arise if the deceased was, say, a party activist who had died violently or something of that nature. But here we are talking about an intellectual, he was more than an activist. Magaisa was, he was a larger than life figure. And Papa Namuka, I don't see any prospects of a protest or violence. Why deny this vigil, really? It boggles the mind.
Chokutanga ndechokuti vaida kuitira kupi. Handifungi kuti kumhuri yavo kuri kuinda vanhu vachibata maoko ndokwavaida kuzviitira. Government haigoni kuti vanhu vachida kuungana pamba pavo vachida kuchema mufi wavo yoti hazvibvomidzi nokuti munhu uyu ndewekuopposition asi hazvamboitika munyika yeZimbabwe. Saka mukada kutarisa kuti vaida kuzviitira kupi zvinhu izvi handiti
kuharare gardens
muharare gardens ko ine ichiitikwa muharare gardens ndo mushamba vamagaisa. Hati muri kuona zvandiri kutaura kuti munoda kunoitira muharare gardens vanga vari hero here yokuti inoda an open space kuti ichemwe kana kuti vanongonochemwa kumba kwavo vanga vane position yei kumusangano weopposition kana even kana vanga vari musangano weZANU-PF chaiwo chaiwo vanenge vachinoitikwei kuharare gardens. Chii chinenge chida kuitikwa kuharare gardens chanyanya kukosha stereki chii pane izvizvi. Saka I think muri kuona kuti ende amushuva vana veZimbabwe vari kuteerera zvandiri kutaura kuti ndosaka ndati saka zvakarambidziwa ezif ndaitovapa inhau yokuti maitiro acho atiri kuita aya kaya seopposition handifungi kuti maitiro atiri kuda tiri kudata peace munyika meZimbabwe. Tiri kudakira zvinhu zvinongozokonzeresa kuti muite instability which is not going to be allowed by the government.
Please do stay on the line, Vacharumbira, as I bring in Dr. Mpofu. Dr. Mpofu, I'm sure you've been listening to Mr. Charumbira. What's your take?
No, I think these things of defending the indefensible actually get boring at some point, you know. How do you have policemen who are prophets who would know what people are going to do if they were granted a permission to have a vigil? In any case, why would a democratic country, if we were to assume that Zimbabwe is a democracy for one moment, why would people in a democratic country require a police clearance to attend a funeral? It's quite boring and something that is not worthy of any intellectual engagement with, you know, because I honestly don't know how to react to this. Like, honestly, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Even to a 2-year-old, this thing will never, ever make sense, you know? And there's no way in heaven, hell, or earth that people will gather to commemorate Magaisa, as I said before. He's a man who advocated for peace. He's a man who contributed immensely to the Zimbabwean cause. He's a man who dreamt of a better Zimbabwe outside the leadership and the brutalities of ZANU-PF. And therefore, there's no way in his name that anyone would gather and start violence. In any case, violence against who? Because we would imagine that people would attend Magaisa's vigil will be people of same mind, people who have Magaisa in mind, and people who are mourning. And in any case, Magaisa is not only, it doesn't belong only to the Magaisa family. Magaisa is a hero to the post-2000 Zimbabweans. Not a hero as defined by ZANU-PF, by the way. He's a hero to many people, many young people that Magaisa carried their aspirations. Magaisa spoke for them. Magaisa wrote about them in mind. Magaisa strove for a better Zimbabwe for those people. And therefore, at the end of the day, one could imagine what will they be, or who will they be carrying violence against if we say that the police foresaw that there is going to be violence at the vigil. It just boggles the mind, and It's nonsensical at best to sum it up that you think of Zimbabweans that way. Actually, this is an indictment on what we think of Zimbabweans, that they are unreasonable people, and that they are people who need to be controlled, who need to be babied by ZANU-PF to do whatever they want to do. Zimbabweans are grown up, and Zimbabweans know what they want, and they should be given that opportunity. In any case, why don't they give them the permission to go for the funeral and not curtail them? And then if there's violence, they will arrest the organizers. In any case, he hasn't even explained to us why people were arrested in a church for praying, for goodness sake. That act stinks to higher heavens. Why would people be arrested for praying? And I think it's embarrassing, really, to defend these behaviors. It's quite embarrassing, and history will judge some people very harshly for this.
Thank you there, Dr. Mpofu. Vadzokora manzwa zvataura navacharumbira.
Hapana chandanzwa ini nekuti hapana chavataura vacharumbira. Zvinonzwisa ngoni kunzwa munhu achitaura pamusoro pemufi, matauriro ari kuita kuti Dr. Magaisa ndiani vanounganirwa kuHarare Gardens. Dr. Magaisa is a hero. This is a hero of the people. Maybe not a hero of ZANU-PF or by ZANU-PF definition. This is a man who was standing for the people, by the people. And I don't even know why ZANU-PF and Mr. Charumbira would be speaking the way he's speaking. Because if you read the BRIS for Dr. Magaisa, his articles on Saturday, we miss them greatly. You see that he was speaking for the people. And for the people means all the people in Zimbabwe, both ZANU-PF, CCC, and any opposition person. He was an advisor, not only to the opposition, but also to ZANU-PF. He would talk about what we should do to get better, to get ahead as Zimbabweans. He would advise what the government should be doing to ensure that there is constitutionalism in Zimbabwe. And talking about the constitution, this is a man who spearheaded or was part of the constitutional writing process of our constitution post-independence. And you talk down a person like that. We have seen even in some ZANU-PF groups where some people were saying, oh, there goes another sanctioned supporter. These are ZANU-PF people, these are ZANU-PF members that are denigrating a fellow human being. And we are seeing the same being done here by Mr. Charumbira, that people, Zimbabweans, who have a right to congregate, a right to protest, a right to attend a funeral, were denied that right, to just go and light candles and pray for the departed. Even the reason why Bishop Magaya and 36 others were arrested, they were in a church, for God's sake. So what is he talking about? Does he want people to apply for permission to go to their own church so that they can have a prayer session?
Thank you there, Vadzokora. Let me go back to Vacharumbira as we wrap up. Briefly, Vacharumbira, 72% of Zimbabweans say the country is in the wrong direction. That clearly is an indictment on ZANU-PF, isn't it?
You get these statistics.
That's according to a survey by Afrobarometer.
Yeah, but Afrobarometer, who is in charge of Afrobarometer? Who is formed that organization? And what is the purpose of that organization anyway? So you see, we cannot base on any foreign funded or inspired organization, right? Let's have our own survey. How can we say the country is on the wrong direction whilst we are celebrating the achievement of our president, the country is moving on the right track. Right now, as we talk, we know there's a drought, and the government has already outsourced a lot of maize.
There's good news
Right?
still
just
though.
Just to say a few, but if you say 72%, I don't believe in that. I think that's very biased.
It also says 51% trust President Mnangagwa. Isn't that good enough?
No, I think 51 or 52% is not good enough. That's not giving him a good margin. We are looking for at least about 78 to 80%. Why am I saying that? Because we are seeing what we have not seen or witnessed in this country since liberation, right? So what is lacking right now, that I can agree with somebody, is that the job sector, right? That's why the government is creating more and more jobs, but the opposition is busy trying to denigrate what the president is doing, and we will see this on our next election. The result of our next election will actually, give us a glimpse of exactly what has been happening that we don't see now, right? But if you see, when you look at Afrobarometer, you go back to even when it was started. They've been an organization that is there specifically for regime change. If I can be very clear with you. So we as ZANU-PF, why are we going to be agreeing with a regime change agenda to remove us from power and do what? So those organizations that are foreign funded, Freedom House, Africa Barometer, etc., they are very biased organizations who will never say anything positive about ZANU-PF. And I think we are getting a little bit more tough as ZANU-PF as we are approaching 2023. As we are approaching 2023, because of these examples that you are giving us, because they are not being fair. I think it's better for us to end at this election when we have got fairness, in the political arena. But right now there is no fairness. So which means everyone is going to do whatever they can. And definitely from all that, there will be a result of the election.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you so very much, Mr. Charumbira, for taking trouble to get in touch with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Siyabonga, Baba Uregis Charumbira, and we are out of time. Let me wrap it up with my other guests, Dr. Sheban Pofu and Mr. Tawanda Zokora. Gentlemen, you each have 30 seconds. Mr. Zokora, 30 seconds. Give us your last word.
We continue to fight for the release and return of More Blessing Ali, who was abducted in Chitungwiza. And we have lined up a number of activities online in Chitungwiza. Right now, as we are speaking, there's a search party that is going on, led by citizens. Our Member of Parliament, Job Scala, is there. And tomorrow, right here in North America, we'll be having a prayer session where we are inviting all Zimbabweans to come and pray and protest for the return of More Blessing Ali. And I also want to take this opportunity kuti kumhuri kwa vamagaisa musa kanganisike zvenyu nezvaitika kuHarare kuti candle lighting session yatadza kuitwa. Vana veZimbabwe vakamira nemi, ticharamba tichinamata, ticharamba tichifamba nezvaitaurwa naDr. Magaisa kusvika Zimbabwe yasununguka. Asi kuti tisvike ikoko, handi tinonyoresa kuvhota neuwandu hwedu, toenda zvakare kunovhota muna 2023. Tibvise hurumende iyoyi tichiisa vatungamiri vanotya Mwari, vatungamiri vanoteedzera zvido zvevanhu.
Thank you there, Chief Shoswe Vatawanda Zokora. Dr. Mpofu, your last word, 30 seconds.
Well, I think as we're discussing yesterday, we noticed that Zimbabwe is continuously deteriorating in terms of democracy, in terms of human rights, dignity to human life under the current regime. And Mnangagwa, when he took over power, he indicated left and he turned right. He promised Zimbabweans democracy, he promised to open up the space for robust debate and political expression. But all that is slowly being eroded as we head towards 2022. And one hopes that Zimbabweans will register to vote, will vote in large numbers, and also defend their vote. After voting, no one should go home. People should camp at the polling stations until the results are released so that they protect their vote. And we hope for a better Zimbabwe. And we pay tribute to Alex Makaisa that what he so fiercely fought for hasn't been achieved. And we thank him for his intelligence. We thank him for his passion for Zimbabwe and the contributions that he made. And we call upon academics to actually fill up the gap that Makaisa has left, to provide incisive commentary to the cause of Zimbabwe, to help Zimbabwe engage with the issues, sophisticated issues, simplify them for the masses, make the material available to be engaged with the ordinary.
Thank you. That's Dr. Shepard Mpofu. Also, a thank you to Vatawanda Zokora of the Citizens Coalition for Change, as well as Varegisa Charumbira of ZANU-PF. That's it, Zimbabwe. Let's make another date. Next Friday, I am Tungamili Komo.